Howdy. I'm a little late, 27 minutes late today, but I'm here. Um, I want to finish level two tonight. Might not, might not finish level two, but I'm gonna have a really long backrooms video. Oh God. Also, I will be smoking occasionally tonight. Just took a hit and it's already hitting my throat. Um, um, I'm gonna be playing a backrooms video that is very long, and it's just gonna be talking about the lore of every level. And it is 8 hours long. Obviously, the stream will not be 8 hours long, but I'm gonna be playing it in the background just to kind of get myself in the vibe, in the mood. I think what I recorded thus far in terms of in terms of apologies for the coughing, I'm sure that's pretty disturbing. Um, the ideas that I have for the levels. So I have up to 20 where I know kind of what it's going to be. And then when I get there, I kind of look at the line I wrote. And if I can do it, I'll do it. If not, Um, there are certain levels that are going to be very simple, like this one. I want to kind of start those very soon. Because they're going to be the funnest ones, I believe. Like level 7 is going to be underwater. I want to do a bunch of underwater effects. A snow level I might attempt to do, or like maybe like the backrooms with snow in it, something like that. Um, and as you can see, I have a bunch of ideas, and then there's a couple offshoot ideas that I might or might not do or incorporate in one of these levels. So that's what that video is going to be. And this guy, he's very cool. I like him, and we're gonna be listening to his voice for quite a long time. So prepare for that. I am gonna have it, lower, but um, and then to show this level before I do have that play, this is what I've gotten done. So here's where the elevator starts, and then we're gonna just, I'm just gonna take you through it. Maybe I'm going a little too fast. I feel like I tend to go quicker than when I'm showing people. Maybe that's too slow. Shit. Ugh, there you go. So yeah, so we just got a bunch of corridors. I added doors. They are two-sided doors, so they're gonna be very versatile. I'm gonna be using this all throughout the backrooms levels. This will probably be the first door. I'll probably have different types of doors. I want to have like maybe a wooden door, or if there's anything mentioned in the lore itself, maybe I can use that and create one of the doors off of that. But so far, this is just a generic door so that I can you know, place it here and add whatever I need to. These will obviously be inaccessible, but if I do want to make them accessible, I can do so because I do have a version here where it'll be programmed. Let me open up the blueprint really quickly because um, obviously there are points where I'm gonna need to, you know, use the door and the collision I believe has already been set up for the meshes. Yes, I have set it up. Well, I can't look at it there, but can I look at it here? Yes, yes, I can. And yeah, so that's set up. So he should be able to walk through it. But I do think I have to fix the collision on this. So let me double check because I don't remember even editing it. But and then before showing that, here's what this hallway is gonna look like. So the reference, let me pull the reference out because holy shoot, where's the references? Right here. So this one's a lot more green than what I have going on, but maybe I will make it green in the end, but I just took this simple reference of these walls. I couldn't tell if they were like mirrors or like if it was just an illusion, but I just took my own take. I don't know if that was English. Took my own take, but I just did my own thing, and I'm just gonna have it like repeating, 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 and then there'll be like all these, weird areas. And there's a bunch of holes in the wall, the floors right now because I'm using the old mesh from level 0. So this floor I need to change and turn into just a big giant floor, which I think I need to do a bunch of bullshit for. Oh, well, unless I do a plane. No, that's gonna be the lazy way. For now, let's fix this mesh because I think it's just a block. Let me see because if not, I can't walk through it and test it out because I really want to. Oh, I removed it anyway. Movie. Oh well, if I go back, let me see. I want to see what it was. Yeah, okay, just to confirm that it was a collision of a box, but whatever. Now it may seem complicated, like oh shit, like what are you? So I'm just gonna start off with a box because these are square structures after all, and I mean it's just squares. So I'm just gonna do squares. All right, now is a good time to start the video while the awkward silence fills the room.
You get to hear the level explanations from 0 to 100, you'll also get to
There you
see
go.
how my video quality has gotten way better over the years because it kind of sucked at the beginning.
I hope I could play
You'll see
his
how it is,
video.
but it kind of
It
sucks.
might
So
get
without
flagged. If it
further
does, then
yapping
I mean,
from
I'll,
me,
I'll learn
sit
that the
back
hard
and
way.
relax, grab a snack, grab a drink, and get ready to hear Backrooms level 0 through 100's explanation. Even though technically it's 0 to 101 because you don't really count the 100th because it would be 99th. You know what I'm saying. Thank you all
Uh,
so much for
yeah.
getting me here. This video has been many
Yeah.
years in the making, and I hope you really enjoy it.
Many years. It's an 8-hour video.
Level
Many
0,
years.
aka the Tutorial Zone, is the first level in the Backrooms. It's classified as a Class 1, so it's safe and secure and has a minimal entity count, even though there are no known entities here. This level is the one that most people no-clip into as soon as they land in the Backrooms. You all know what the level looks like, and you've probably heard it a million times, but it's Bergmas, and I'm gonna say it all again. Level
That
0
works.
is a network of
I hope.
rooms that all have this famous Backrooms wallpaper. You know what it is? It's that yellow, dingy looking thing. It's nasty, really. The carpet here is damp, and it smells like it too. And there's this dingy fluorescent lighting all over that's flickering in some places, and it's also emitting this buzzing noise from the lights. The buzzing noise would already drive me to insanity.
Bit
The
louder.
buzzing on this level is much louder than normal
Just realized I've been
fluorescent lights
coughing
from
all
real
this
life,
time. I got a
and it's
drink right
unknown
next
why
to
it's
me.
so loud.
Oh my God.
It's almost like it's being loud just to be annoying. I mentioned it, but the carpet here is moist, and it's also unknown what liquid is making it moist, but what
Moist
is
carpet.
known is
Isn't
that it's not safe
crazy?
to drink.
Like,
Obviously. Who's gonna be drinking carpet juice, bro? What? An important thing to remember when talking about level
like,
0
what the
is
fuck?
that the space there is
Carpet juice.
non-linear. This
Ew.
means that you could walk in a quote-unquote straight line and end up right back where you started. And if you
Oh,
try to go back the way you came, you could end up in a
I'm not
completely
doing
different
that.
set of rooms. So this makes the level quite disorienting and confusing, especially since the people that are here just landed in. And couple that with the fact that compasses and GPSs don't work, and you got a
Great.
recipe for disaster. Also, radio
Great. They don't
communications
work
are really
at all.
disoriented and scrambled, so it makes it pointless
Say
to
hey
try
goodbye
to
to my
communicate
air
with
tag.
radios. Some people consider level 0 as the scariest level in the Backrooms because of the initial
Okay, now
shock
that
factor
should
you
be
get
completed.
from being
Perfect.
completely alone and in a literal
It was
alternate
perfect.
dimension. Which
Like,
I can see.
perfect.
Even though there's no entities here, it's
Not
still
a
one of the
single
most
mislead
terrifying.
there.
An interesting fact is that even though level 0
Okay.
is the main way
Look
to
at
enter
that.
the Backrooms, there's never been any reports
Oh,
of
great.
wanderers
They won't
interacting with
show
each
me.
other in this level. And there's also been no corpses ever found here, but it's assumed that there's a
Okay,
ton of
let's
them,
fix the
because there's
fucking
no way
floor.
every single person lives from this level. So let's say a group of people attempts
Um,
to enter level
go
0 from
faster.
a different level. If they do, they'll be split up, and they won't even be able to meet back up until they leave the level. So it's literally like the
Let's see.
level
Can I
puts you in
just
solitary
do
confinement
a
on
little
purpose.
shake?
Obviously, this solitude and the weird
No, I don't
non-linear
wanna do
structure makes people's minds play tricks on them. It's a given that hallucinations are common on this level, specifically the
No.
hallucination of doors or stairs or hearing humans talking, or you can hallucinate random
Geometry.
movement in the corner of your eyes and your
Yeah,
peripheral
there you
vision. And sometimes the humming of the lights can be so loud that you can hallucinate going deaf, or you can just hear random
Really
insects
sick.
chittering. And yeah, couple all those hallucinations with being completely alone and isolated in a random space that seems endless, and you might go crazy. Like I said earlier, there are no known entities here, and you can't even run
Okay,
into
that
another
should be
wanderer.
good enough.
So if you think you hear something, you don't. You're just going crazy. To enter level 0, you
I
have to
don't know why.
no-clip from the
Oh, I know
reality of
why.
Earth. Simple as that. To exit level 0, there are a few more ways. The main way is you can learn to
I was gonna say, I
no-clip
don't
through
know
a
why I
wall or
couldn't see
floor
why it
by
wasn't
practicing
moving, but-
yourself. And this will put you on the next level, which is level 1. But there's also a slight chance that if you walk far enough in any direction, that
Okay.
you'll end up in a place called the Manila
Now,
Room, which is a medium-sized square room
could
that
just
appears to
spread
have
this
literally no relationship with
across
the
the
other
level.
levels. It seems completely random. This room has small wooden chairs inside, and it gives off just a weird
Go to
vibe. But
brush
something
editing.
good about the Manila Room is that wanderers can
Select
meet
the
up here and they
face.
can actually actually see each other,
And
unlike in the main part of level 0 where you can't meet anybody. There's also
like
documents
that.
from Meg that are available in the middle of the room that people can read up on, and it'll tell them how to survive the backrooms and how to travel from level to level. And most importantly, the papers will teach you how to no-clip. Thanks, Meg. So the explanation I just gave is for the newer, revised version of level 0 from the Wikidot. The first version of level 0 doesn't exist anymore, obviously, because it was archived. There are several key differences in the official version that we have now and the archive version, so I thought I'd go over some of the differences here. In the official version, there are just an infinite labyrinth of yellow rooms everywhere, with an endless length of hallways and segments, stuff like that. But in the archives version, there was a little bit more to it. Like, there were electrical outlets on the wall, and there were surveillance cameras on the ceiling, and instead of it only being yellow walls, there were occasional red rooms that you could walk in, and occasional pitch black hallways you could walk in as well. But other than that, they were pretty much the same. They still had the flickering lights, the moist carpet, and the mostly yellow walls. The archive version also had several outposts and entities that are not in the official version, because if you remember what I just said a couple minutes ago, level 0 now has no entities and no outposts, and these outposts and entities are now moved to level 1, which is a pretty good change in my opinion. I think it makes it creepier, which you'll see those outposts in tomorrow's video, which will be on level 1. A cliffhanger. Get destroyed.
Edit anyway, I wasn't.
Level 1 of the Backrooms is considered a Class 1 area because of these
Just
reasons that I always say, so I'm just going to show you. The level looks like a huge warehouse that has concrete floors and walls, and there's even like exposed rebar everywhere. Additionally, there's some fog that hangs really low to the ground on this level, and it comes from an unknown source.
Every time I
So
type,
the fog causes condensation to happen, which makes these puddles form on the ground. So unlike level 0, this level has a constant supply of water that you can actually drink, and electricity that doesn't make a humming noise. This makes level 1 a welcome sight for weary travelers. This level can get really expansive though. It's got staircases and elevators and secluded rooms and winding hallways all throughout, so try your best not to get lost. This level produces random crates with supplies that seem to appear and disappear at random. These crates can contain food and almond water, and sometimes they even have batteries, tarps,
I should also
clothes,
maybe
medical
add
equipment,
almond
and
water
weaponry.
like assets.
But sometimes the boxes have really dumb stuff, like random car parts or boxes of crayons, or even live mice. What? Some crates also have loose change or human hair, so that's nice, I guess. These crates should be approached with caution since what's inside of them is random, but you definitely should approach them just in case there's good stuff, obviously. A weird quirk about this level is that there are strange, crude drawings and paintings of an unknown origin that appear on the walls and floors of the level. They sometimes change how they look, and they sometimes also disappear when you're not looking at them. Just like level 0, sometimes level 1 can experience light flickering. When this happens, supplies often vanish when the lights flash off, and entities also spawn then. These creatures tend to avoid areas with lights, so just hang around a bright spot, and you should be good. Also, since the objects disappear randomly, it's been found that if you actually hold onto the objects, then they don't disappear. They seem to only disappear when they're just laying by themselves. An area called the Hub is also located on level 1. It's a long tunnel that has doors to different levels on it. Most of the time there are wanderers here, and it's actually a pretty popular area. Level 1 is home to the first main Meg base, which if you remember from my level 0 explain video, used to be in the archived version of level 0, but it got moved to level 1. I think it's for the better. The base is named Base Alpha, and it houses about half of all the Meg teams. They also take wanderers in as well. The base is located near an entrance to the level, and is heavily guarded in order to ward off creatures, obviously. The next outpost is called the BNTG's Traders Keep. The BNTG stands for Backrooms National Trade Group, which I've already made a video about them and Meg, so links below if you want to check that out. The place is called Traders Keep, and it's a city-like complex that has a semi-normal social infrastructure. There are about 415 people who live here constantly, and they keep a friendly relationship with Meg. And this place is one of the main supply hubs for wanderers in the entire Backrooms, and it's a nice place to take refuge and experience some sort of normalcy. It's located in the storage hall section of level 1. The last outpost
these cats are gonna
place is
eternally
called
disrupt me, and that's okay. But the girl, she loves human contact. Like, she loves human contact, but she hates other contact with cats. It's so funny. Like, see how sweet she acts with me, but then as soon as the other cat goes near her, it's like she wants to like stab them and hurt them. I've seen her attack. It's so funny. Uh, but you know how cats are. Cats just be
Tom's
on the
Diner.
most.
Again, if you remember my level 0 explain video from yesterday, Tom's Diner used to be on level 0, Now it's here. The diner is run by Tom, obviously, who was a chef in real life before he
Yeah, it
no-clipped
gets
into the
dark here.
Backrooms.
I'm gonna
He has
keep
plenty
it
of food in
super
storage,
dark.
and he gets supplies from the
And
BNTG
then
every
here's
few
the
months so he can
entrances.
stay stocked. Tom's Diner is a
And
common
then
place
here,
for social activities and a
what
pretty
was that?
fun time
Oh,
overall, and a lot of
okay.
people use this area
Yes,
as like
there
a
you go. That's
rendezvous
where I
point.
wanted.
It's strangely wholesome, bro. Not even gonna lie. There are a ton of ways to enter level 1, but the most obvious one
Clean,
is to come from level
simple,
0 by no clipping.
perfectly
But if you're not a level 0, you could climb a
tiled.
tree on level 11.1, or you could complete the King's Trial on level 94. Or sometimes there's just doors labeled level 1 scattered throughout the Backrooms. You can walk
The
through one
King's
of those
Trial.
doors and
Oh
you'll end up
god, I
here.
haven't even gotten there yet. Oh my god.
Level 2 is the
Level
third level of the
94.
Backrooms, and it's classified as a Class 2 survival difficulty
Oh,
because
okay.
it's pretty unsafe, honestly. And this is the last of the levels that you could be sent to when you first enter the Backrooms. The majority of the people land in level 0, and some land in level 1. In some rare cases, you can land in level 2,
Oh shit.
and if you do, your luck is terrible. Like, you have the worst luck ever. Level 2's layout is pretty
There you
much
go.
an infinite labyrinth
Okay,
of
kinda
low-light,
clips, but whatever.
concrete maintenance tunnels that
It's
go
fine.
on for hundreds of thousands of miles. The walls in the hallway are all lined with pipes, and sometimes there are even air ducts in the ceiling
Alright, look
and
at
on
the
the
top.
walls. And these air ducts typically have a
Holy
thick
shit,
black
bro.
liquid that comes out of them, and it's
I
unknown what
think I
this
need
is.
to add
Scattered
like
around these
some
halls are
hallways. So
random
let's create a
doors, and they're
hallway.
all over the place. Some of the
We
doors
go
are
here.
locked, and some of them are open, but the ones that are open mostly lead
Oh,
nowhere,
I guess I could
except
just...
sometimes there's a rare exit. We'll talk about that later. These rooms that dead end normally have shelves with seemingly random objects on them, ranging from pieces of scrap metal to computers, which is weird. The hallways in this level are normally a pretty comfortable temperature until you get to some of the segments where it can get up to 110 degrees Fahrenheit,
What the
or
fuck?
43 degrees Celsius. These hot areas are also where machine noises are really loud
Oh,
too, so just
are they
avoid them.
fighting?
The
I
entities
hear them
located on this
fighting.
level are honestly some of the worst
They
ones
just...
possible.
Yeah, she cannot
Crawlers
interact with
crawl
them.
through
So
the air
funny.
vents, smilers hide in the shadows. There's also child facelings, clumps, hounds, death moths,
Facelings.
skin stealers, and this
Skin
guy.
stealers.
Gotcha. These creatures lurk in the hallways constantly, so it's probably best to just avoid them at all costs.
What the
Interestingly enough, there are a couple
Skin
bases and
stealers?
outposts here, and the first one is called the Survivors, which
The
consists of
survivors.
about
Okay, the
29
people who
people
live in the back,
who
which would be
literally
me. I would
just
love to be a
explore this
survivor.
level.
I would.
It's kind of lame, but whatever. The leader
I mean,
of this
whatever. I
ragtag
would
group
love
is
to like
named
just
Austin,
run
and they're
away
pretty friendly
from
and
this
they're willing to
society and
trade
this
with
world and
wanderers, so I
just
guess
go
that's
into
nice.
the
This group was
Backrooms
actually
in
the
like a
first group
safe
ever
one,
to
safe
discover what
dimension.
wretches were. So, thank you, I guess. The next outpost is called Office Space EL3A. This area is controlled by the BNTG, or the Backrooms National Trade Group, and it houses about 30 people, give or take a few. There's no information on what goes on there, so I can only assume Backrooms trading happens, since that's the name of the BNTG. I don't know. To enter level 2, you can wander around level 1 until you find the entrance, or you can
You're
access
doing
it from
something
the
weird.
hub,
Watch.
which is that huge tunnel from level 1 I talked about. And like I said earlier, level 2 can be accessed directly from reality, but it would definitely be the worst one out of the first 3 levels to land in,
Motherfucker.
but it still might happen. To exit
Oh,
level
maybe I
2,
shouldn't curse
you can
too
go
much
through an
on
unlocked
YouTube.
door and it might lead somewhere to the next level, or sometimes back to level 1 even. The most common exit is this
Oh,
huge
and
multicolored
I
door
hear the
that's
cats.
somewhere on the level, and that leads to level 283. And if some reason
I'm
you
just
want to
gonna
go to
let
a
them
sub-level,
duel it
which
out
is level
because
2.1, you can just
I'm
no-clip through
me
the
going
floor or
over
the
there and
wall
trying to
in
help
one of
them
those
isn't gonna
extremely
do
hot
much.
areas I was talking about,
They're gonna
and
try
it'll
and
just
fight
stick you
anyway.
in the sub-level. I don't think I would do that, but whatever you want, man. So to summarize, level 2 is a huge expanse of maintenance tunnels with pipes on the walls and random locked or
Yeah, I'm
unlocked
not doing
doors
that.
everywhere.
Yeah, I'm not
There
doing
are a
that.
ton of
Sorry.
dangerous
We'll do
entities
just
here,
some cool
and
stuff.
it can get really hot in some of the halls. This level to me is like the first real experience with entities you get, so be warned. Level 3 of the Backrooms is classified as Class 4, so it's unsafe and unsecure, and it has a medium entity count. This is actually the first real test for people who are new to the Backrooms. Level 2 was kind of a warm-up level for this one, because level 3 consists of a ton of looping dark hallways that behave kind of like the ones from level 0, but
like-
not to the full extent.
feel
Each
like
of the
bringing a
hallways
sword,
juts off into random
or like a
segmented
really
rooms,
good
and there's no
bladed
pattern to
weapon,
this level whatsoever.
of
It's all random.
some sort
On
of
top of the
flame
randomness of
throwing
the hallways,
weapon
there's also
or
extremely loud
explosive.
machinery noises.
You should be able to
that
fight any
echo
of
through
those
the
damn
halls,
monsters off.
which could be
Like,
disorienting.
they all try to
and
be all
personally, it would drive
dangerous.
me
Just-
insane. The
just
hallways
beat 'em up, blow
themselves
them
are
up.
really
They should
skinny and
be-
short, and really, really
I
skinny
mean, maybe
in some
they're
places.
stronger
And sometimes
than-
people have to
than I-
crawl through
than
them.
I think,
And if you're
but-
tall, you have to bend over like the entire time. But good thing I'm 5'10". The walls are
But
made
like
of dusty
Kratos,
bricks,
oh
and
my
there's
god, put
copper
Kratos
pipes
in the
that run run
Backrooms.
along them, and the
He
floor is
fucked
made of a
all of those
hard gray
monsters up.
tile. The ceilings are made out of
That
metal,
stupid
which
stick
makes the
monster, yeah.
echo way
And then
worse. Interestingly, this
put like
level is actually
Dante
one
from
of the
Devil May Cry
biggest
in. Oh
levels
my
in the
god.
Backrooms. Its
He'd just
estimated
slash everything
size
up,
is
shoot
around
everything up.
350 million
He had no
miles, which
problem
is
in the back.
massive. This means it's really unlikely to run into any wanderers here, so it's recommended that when you come here, you be prepared to fight entities alone, since you'll probably not meet any help. Something that makes this level unique is that sometimes there's these prison cell bars that cut off entire sections of hallways. Meg has tried to break past these bars to explore further, but they literally cannot break it. They've also tried to break the walls down that are around the bars, but they can't break those either. Areas with these prison bars have been recorded as the creepiest places in the entire level. Some wanderers say that there's a heightened sense of fear when you're around them. Some have even said that they get extreme discomfort by just approaching them. Most people get the feeling that they're being watched when they're near these prison bars, and some have claimed to see an unknown figure lurking behind the bars. Creepy.
Oh no,
Just
that's
like
scary.
yesterday's level, which is level 2, this level's halls have a black sludge liquid that flows through the pipes. This sludge is really toxic, and it can literally cause damage to your
Black
brain if you even
sludge.
breathe it in, and if you touch it, you'll get third-degree burns. So how about we just avoid the black sludge, huh? Meg still has no idea what the sludge is or why it flows through the pipes, so nice. Every once in a while
Great.
on this level, there's a random electrical room with a single generator
You'll be able
inside,
to fit through all
as well
that.
as random
You should be
electronics
able
like
to.
computers or loose wires, and there's even security monitors here too. The rooms are rare though, and no one knows why they exist. As I said earlier, this level's pretty dangerous, but it's also really rewarding at the same time. The level has loads of almond water, false outlets, fire salt, royal rations, squirt guns, and many other resources too. There are tools and weapons like knives, lighters, and bolt cutters, and flashlights that are just laying around. On top of these resources, Level 3 is also a level with the strongest Wi-Fi signal in the entire Backrooms. So you can
Level
get stocked
3.
up on food, weapons, and Wi-Fi. Sounds like a pretty nice level to me. As you
Is
can
that right?
expect, all the machinery and these small enclosed
Another
spaces
yellow
make this
version.
level pretty warm, but it's still bearable. The temperature ranges from 66 degrees to 93 degrees Fahrenheit, or 18 degrees to 33 degrees
Probably
Celsius
come up
for
with
most of the
something else.
level. But in some segments, temperatures of over
then before,
135 degrees have been recorded. So just avoid
white
those.
rooms
The
with
machines on this
black,
level operate
blacked out
completely on their
windows
own,
and
but they're
a
also
few
really
windows
dangerous
in the
sometimes because they'll just blow up
windows.
and pieces of them will fly off and
One
hit you.
big white
If you see one
room
making too much
with many
noise, just don't go
windows.
near it.
What the
Level
fuck?
3 has tons of dangerous entities and creatures, and you're pretty much gonna have to fight off loads of them. There's hounds, facelings, wretches, death moths, skin
Hounds,
stealers, clumps,
facelings?
and smilers lurking everywhere, specifically in the shadows. There are also sections
Hounds
infested
and
with
facelings.
crawler fungus and the disease, which are
And
both
batlings,
mold-like
the fuck did he
entities.
say?
The entities on this level behave more aggressively than on other levels, and they actively seek out to attack bases and outposts.
Fuck.
Some smaller groups have trouble fending them off, but the big bases don't. Speaking of big bases, the Meg base Gamma is located here, and it's the third most important Meg base. There's around 300 people who live here, and they take wanderers in too, and they're open to trade. The base is attacked by entity hordes often, but since it's so big, they can pretty much defend themselves. The next outpost is called the BNTG Storage Facility. BNTG is Backrooms National Trade Group, for those who don't know, and this is the biggest trade center for the BNTG. The outpost will trade with you, but they're known for having insanely high rates. Losers. And there's around 150 people that live here. The third outpost is called the Followers of Jerry Blue Salvation. And there are only 15 members here, and they typically just are here to collect the resources from this level. Jerry's that one bird I talked about a while back. This group is hostile for those who don't listen to what Jerry says, and this makes them an unpredictable threat. The Masked Maidens
fuck is
might also
Jerry?
have a base here, but it's unconfirmed.
Who's
It's kind of just a
Jerry?
rumor that exists. The last base here is called UEC Base Scylla. UEC stands for Unbound. This outpost has an unknown number of members, and it's just here to collect the resources, and it's said to avoid them at all costs because they're dangerous and unpredictable. To enter level 3, you can go through one of those unlocked doors on level 2, or you can take an elevator on level 4 or 5. The metro is also a pretty reliable way to get here. To exit level 3, take an elevator, which will take you to level 4 or 5, or you can open a random wooden door, which will take you to level 31. Nice. So to summarize, level 3 is a huge level of small hallways with brick walls, metal ceilings, and tile floors. There's machinery constantly making noise, and a
Oh,
black
hell no.
sludge that flows through the pipes that can literally kill you if you inhale it. There's also a ton
Get
of
outta
dangerous
here.
creatures here, but at the same time, it's kind of worth coming here because of how rich this level is in resources. I rate this
Right.
level about 7 out of 10 on the Brugly scale, because I'd come here just for all the stuff you can get. Level 4, aka the Abandoned Office, is classified as a Class 1 survival difficulty, and is safe, secure, and has minimal entities.
Cool.
Only 2. This level is mainly known for being the main source of almond water in the Backrooms. Nice. It physically looks like an entire empty office building with stairwells and
What's
hallways and
with the
stuff like
almond
that,
water?
and it
I
has
don't.
pretty much no furniture. There are
It is
windows
not that
here, but
nutritious.
they're
What?
mainly
It's
blacked
water
out,
too.
and the ones that look
Not even
normal, like
almond
there's
milk.
light coming
Like,
through them, are window traps. So don't go
I
near
want
them.
no
Like I
fucking
said
almond
earlier, there
water.
are only 2 entities that have been seen here, and those are hounds and dullars. But one person did claim they saw a smiler, so they might be here too. Due to there not being many entities here, and there's also an abundance of almond water, this means there's tons of people here, pretty much all the time. The almond water is in coolers, vending machines, and water fountains all over the level, and it never seems to run out. How convenient. Another convenient thing about level 4 is that it's very easy to enter and exit, but more on that in a second. Level 4 is considered one of the best places in the entire Backrooms to meet up with other wanderers and
Nice.
to gather supplies, and it's definitely a safe spot to rest. There are several outposts here, but most notably, Meg Base Omega is
I think I
here,
know what to do.
which is the second main Meg base. This base is heavily guarded, and it's located near an exit of this level. The next outpost is called Amor Incrementum. If the name didn't give it away, this group is a cult. A cult who worships agriculture. It's one of the smallest documented groups in the Backrooms, as it only has 10 members. And the
10
plants they
members.
worship and grow aren't even plants, they're mold, so
Ew,
I don't know what's
what?
up with them. The last group
The
here is
fuck?
called the TBD, or To Be Determined, which is a group of about 6 people who literally just hoard the resources on this level
Why
for
are they-
themselves, and they're extremely hostile. They do trade, but when they trade, it's for really weird objects that don't even do anything, so they're just being weird.
What?
To enter this level, you can pick from a variety of ways, but the most common way is no clipping from the hub, or you can take an
No
elevator
clipping.
from level 3. To leave level 4, all you have to do is walk through an office style stairway. There's tons of them on the level. Or you can take an elevator, and both of those exits will put you on level 5 or 6. Easy enough. So to quickly summarize, level 4 is the home of infinite almond water, and is relatively safe to just chill at and meet new people. Yeah, that's literally it. Level 5, aka Terror Hotel, is classified as a Class 2 survival difficulty. It's unsafe and unsecure, and it has a low entity count. And this level is pretty much an infinite hotel complex with a ton of rooms and hallways that are scattered throughout the level. The architecture of the level looks like a hotel that's similar to a hotel building from the mid-1930s, and the furniture in the level seems to be from the early 1920s. Nice. There are 3 parts of this level that are fully accessible, and those are the main hall, the Beverly rooms, and the boiler room, but more on those later. The walls all throughout this hotel are covered in decorations from the early 1900s, and there's literally like no dirt and dust at all, which is cool because old stuff tends to get dusty. The level is clean because it seems to be able to clean itself somehow. If a spot does get dirty or dusty, the level will just automatically clean the spot and it'll go back to normal. Nice. The cleanliness of the floors and the pristineness of the decorations causes this level to give off a really weird vibe. The ambient sound on this level is smooth jazz music that's quietly
another
playing
variation
from
of
vintage
4
record players,
building
and these
off
record
of
players are hooked up to this
that.
extremely old speaker system, and their speakers running down the hallways. And interestingly enough, this
Good jazz
music
music.
can actually be changed. Like the record can be
Oh.
changed. It's unknown who changes it or how it's changed. It just does it sometimes. Level 5 is actually pretty well known for these weird
Interesting.
noises that people hear on the level. Sometimes they hear party chatter, you know, like the ambient sounds of a party, happening on the other side of walls, or whispering noises behind them, and people have even claimed that their shoulder has been tapped
Oh,
when they were
shit.
alone. Sounds like it's
Yeah.
haunted to me. The level also has a ton of paintings where the characters' eyes seem to always be looking at you, which is creepy as it is, but the fact that there's so many of them, well, that makes it creepier. Now it's time to get into the 3 parts of the level, starting with the main hall. As the name suggests, this is the most common area of the level that you can explore. The walls are this retro red color with that fancy looking wallpaper all over them, and the floors range from dark wood floors to red and gold carpet floors. The hallways here have old furniture like shelving and chairs on each side of them, and on the walls in the hallways, there's these old looking candle holders. Now some of the candles are real, but some of them are actually electric lamps that aren't real. There's no fire, it's just electric.
Uh-huh.
And these lamps make a buzzing noise, almost exactly like the buzzing noise from level 0, which is weird. The majority of the rooms in the main hall are empty and locked, but some of the rooms are unlocked, and they end up being bedrooms that are fully furnished, and you can actually rest there. Some of the doors also lock and unlock randomly, so it's not known which ones are unlocked at which times. The main hall also has a bunch of elevators that range from really old designed elevators to really new looking elevators, and you can access a ton of different levels from these elevators, so it's kind of like a miniature hub, if you will. The next part of the level is called the Beverly Rooms, or the Eternal Ballroom. This is exactly how it sounds too. It's just a huge room with a bunch of doors on all sides. There's one table in the very center of the room, and it's got some drinks on it, and an unfinished game of Mahjong. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, I have no idea what that is. People have tried to finish this game, but they can't for some reason, and they feel like they're being forced to stay away from it. This area is the main hub of level 5, and you can access the other parts of the level from this part, because there's like 1,000 doors in this area, and they all lead to the different parts of the level. Some take you to the main hall area, and some take you to the boiler room. Speaking of the boiler room, this is the last area that's easily accessible of level 5. And it's pretty much a big cluttered area with a ton of machinery all over the place. There's these huge pipes that run across the walls and through the air, and this can make the area pretty claustrophobic actually. Almond water seems to run through these pipes, and it flows at such a high pressure that the pipes burst sometimes and leak. Nice. It's also pretty hot down there with all the machinery, and since it's literally a boiler room, I mean, you'd expect it to be hot, right? And there's steam floating throughout the area constantly. Some wanderers have actually reported whispering from inside the furnaces down here, so that's not creepy at all. Now, there are some reports of a fourth area called the lobby rooms on level 5, but no one knows exactly how to get there because people who have actually been there say, quote, "You're not supposed to know," end quote, when they're asked where it is. And after just a few weeks of being in this supposed lobby room, the wanderer loses all memories of it. The only reason the accounts are even written down is because they were quickly reported right after they got sent there. So Meg is currently investigating this room and why it makes you forget its existence, because that's sus. Normal entities are not common on this level, but death moths are a pretty common creature. There's also 4 outposts here, the biggest one being Meg Base Housekeeping. This base is literally just here to study the level and to help guide people through it. You know, typical Meg stuff. The next outpost is called the Homely Hotel, and they actually run a hotel service here. They're located in the main hall area, and they even have signs that point to where they're at. They have applications that wanderers can fill out if they want to stay in the hotel rooms, and they've even got their own food service and room service. What? Nice! The next outpost is called the Originals. This outpost is a group of people that live in one of the Beverly Rooms, and only people who entered the Backrooms from the year 1300 to 1940 can be a part of this group. Bunch of old people, bro. They don't let anyone else join. There's about 31 people who live there, and some of them are really famous, actually, like Amelia Earhart. Nice. The last group is called the Lost Hall Society. This outpost is made by an unknown species of an entity, and there's no known information about the entity at all or how many even live there. But they live in areas with libraries, and they're said to have a huge amount of knowledge about the Backrooms, and specifically this level. They also design maps and books and stuff that are extremely helpful to a wanderer. Nice. To enter this level, you can go down an old stairway on level 4, or you can take an elevator from level 3. And to exit this level, you can just go back up the stairway from level 4, or re-enter the elevator from level 3, or you can exit by one of those thousands of doors in this level because they can sometimes lead to other places. So to summarize, this level is a huge retro hotel with tons of rooms and segments, and a cult of old famous people who live here, and a species of unknown entity that live here and draw maps. There's a hotel service with all the amenities of a real hotel, and there's a Meg base. You know, just your typical level. Nice.
Nice.
Level 6 is classified as class pending, so it's got an unknown safety, and the level is completely unsecured. There's also an unknown number of entities, or there might be no entities, because no one knows. Pretty much nothing besides the floors and the walls are even known about this level. The level is made up of a bunch of hallways with floors that are made out of bricks and walls that are made out of metal, and the entire level is 100% completely and utterly dark, and there's literally no way to make it brighter. Flashlights and fire, everything else that can make light doesn't even work here, and since it's so dark, it's unknown how big the level is. It could be infinite, we don't know. It's also impossible to see other wanderers here simply because there's no light, and no matter how open your eyes are, you literally can't see anything without light, so you could just walk right past someone and not even see them. There's been some reported sightings of smilers, but the main theory on that is that they're just hallucinations because people make things up when they're deprived of sight. I don't know, I'd see stuff too if I was completely sensory deprived. This level has been known to influence people's grasps on reality. Some people get the symptoms of paranoia and extreme derealization. Even though the level is dangerous, they still still feel vulnerable and scared. Just the fact that it's so dark makes a person go crazy. Even the best explorers say that this level is one of the most dangerous ones they've explored, and a large portion of the people who go here never come out. Nice. There are no bases here,
Nice.
obviously. And the level can only be entered through the boiler room from level 5, which I covered in yesterday's video, link below. To exit this level, you have a small chance of just wandering deep enough into it and being sent to level 7, or you can just randomly bump into a wall and no clip out of it. And in some really rare scenarios, there's a random door that you could just walk through. So yeah, level 6 is a pitch black level where the lights don't work and you go crazy. Level 7 of the Backrooms, aka level Thalassophobia, is classified as class 4 and is unsafe and unsecure and has a medium entity count. I wonder if you guys ever get tired of hearing me say that. You probably do. This level is a very difficult level to get through and is said to be a quote significant obstacle to the exploration of level 8 and further on. Nice. Not much is known about level 7 and not too many people have even explored it, but what is known is that the level is made up of 2 distinct areas. The first area is called the entrance area and the second area is called the main area. Really creative names there. The main area is pretty much a huge expanse of water, similar to the ocean in real life, except this goes straight down to get to the different parts of the ocean. And there's a bunch of segments you can pass through, but we'll get onto that stuff later. This level doesn't have any fixed light sources at all, and there's no visible sun, and the only fixed light source is in the entrance area, and there's just a lingering dim light to the entire level. Some of the water in the main area of level 7 is extremely cold, and has been compared to touching liquid nitrogen, which means you probably shouldn't stay in it for too long, obviously. Now I'm going to talk about the 2 different areas, starting with the entrance area. This is the only known entrance to level 7, and it's a fully furnished room with a bookcase, a coffee table, and a lone chair, and one single ceiling light. A quirk about this level and this room is that it's actually rotated horizontally, but the gravity keeps your feet on the floor somehow. It's also important to note that this entrance area and the main area have different gravitational pulls, so the gravity works different in this area than it does when you're in the water. Once you get into this entrance area, you'll start to feel like you're being pulled down to the water, which is below you. There's actually a hole in the floor that looks down at the water, and the gravity here is much stronger than on Earth, so that's going to be a shock. And this also means it's really hard to float on top of the water since you're constantly being pulled down. And the next part of the level is obviously the main area, which is seemingly an infinite stretch of ocean that goes out in all directions. And you get to this part of the level, like I said earlier, by being pulled from the entrance room down into the water. The entrance room is above the water, about 4.5 meters to be exact, so you drop down into this water when you get here. Nice. Now there are several islands in the water that are made up of an unknown rock. These are located about 2 kilometers from the entrance. They've got nothing on them except one, which we'll talk about later, but they're really isolated and I don't know why you would stay there. The ocean part of level 7 is pretty much completely unexplored and is pretty empty for the first 1.2 kilometers down. And this area is called the daylight zone since it's the brightest area. You can actually see underwater and you see what you're doing. But the further you go down from the entrance into the water, the more the light decreases and the more weird stuff you'll start to see. After you pass that initial 1.2 kilometers, you'll get to an area called the twilight zone. This zone's water is full of bones and scrap metal. Even some full skeletons, which are pretty much humans always. These skeletons are from humans, but they have weird things wrong with them, like elongated jaws or really sharp teeth, or no eye sockets, just like really weird stuff. There are also skeletons of massive fish floating around here. These skeletons can get up to 20 meters or 65 feet long. That's really long. This point is where the water pressure starts to get stronger. It won't break your bones or anything, but you'll be able to notice it. After the twilight zone, the next zone is called the midnight zone, and this area is about 6 kilometers down from the entrance. And there's pretty much only humanoid skeletons here. Like, that's literally all there is, just a bunch of bodies floating around. It's like a big graveyard. There's also been some reports of the giant fish skeletons here too, and they've been described by wanderers as, quote, incomprehensible in size. Nice. Now there's only one more area of the ocean past the midnight zone, and it's referred to as the abyss. This area has been deemed too dangerous to explore, and the record for the longest person exploring it was 1 minute and 45 seconds.
Right.
Nice. The abyss seems to have huge piles of rocks and tar that are always bubbling, and we don't know why, but it's weird. There's also a bunch of humanoid skeletons here as well, and other than that, there's not much known about what goes on down there. But there is a rumored entrance to level 8 through an underwater cave, but this isn't officially confirmed. If you know anything about the Backrooms, you'll know that there's only one entity on level 7, and it's known as the Thing on level 7.
The
It's
Thing.
apparently ridded the waters of any other life, and it's an extreme threat. It's unnaturally fast
Sorry,
and
I'm not
strong,
making
and it
those
can detect
no
things from
monsters.
really far
That's not
away.
happening.
It can sense, track, and eviscerate a victim
Sorry.
within seconds. Nice. So if you want to explore this level, you're going to need to bring some kind of bait to throw away from your body if it starts chasing you. The full depth of level 7 isn't fully known, but it can be assumed that it goes insanely deeply, obviously. And there's actually been fragments of synthetic fiber that have been collected from the water, revealing that the floor of the level at the bottom of the ocean is made out of carpet. What? That's weird. Now, I did hint at a base being here earlier on one of those islands, and there's only one base, and it's called Fort Surrender, and it's located on the closest island to the entrance of the level. There's anywhere from 4 to 9 people who live here, and they live in shacks made out of random metal scraps. They apparently worship the Thing on level 7, and they don't trade, and they're hostile. Weird. To enter level 7, you have to go down the staircase from level 6, which will put you directly in the entrance room of this level. Then you'll eventually fall into the waters. There's actually a rumor floating around that you can come back to level 7 from level 8 through a puddle. I don't know why you would want to, but that's a rumor. To exit, you have to find that cave entrance underwater. It's approximately 7 kilometers down, and pretty hard to find.
Oh, okay.
So to summarize, level 7 is a huge body of water that goes down extremely deep and is split up into a bunch of zones, each of which have different things floating in them, like skeletons of humans and fish. The gravity also constantly pulls you down the entire time, so if you want to stay on top, well, it's going to be really hard. Oh yeah, and there's the Thing on level 7 that will chase you down to the ends of the earth to get you. So, nice. Level 8, which is classified as Class 5, unsafe, unsecure, and is infested with creatures. This level is an infinite cave system with caverns and chasms and cliffs everywhere. It's very damp, and there's almond water that runs down the walls and drips from the ceiling, and there are stalactites and stalagmites as well. The sound echoes really loudly on this level, which can be a good thing and a bad thing. Like, it can alert you that a creature is near, or it can make you more noticeable to the creatures there. And there's no natural light on this level, just there's these random spots in the cave walls that emit like a really soft bluish white light. Natural vegetation is really rare on this level, but in some spots there are vines and bushes, and sometimes there are pools of standing almond water. However, this almond water isn't safe to drink, because there's an excess amount of minerals in it. There are also some pools filled with a tar-like substance that if you walk in, hands covered with tar will reach out of it and attempt to grab you and drag you to your demise. That's creepy. So for any miners watching, there are actually gold and iron ore deposits on this level, so don't forget to bring the pickaxe. The creatures here are very dangerous and are typically ones like smilers, skin stealers, wretches, facelings, hounds, death rats, clumps, reviooks, and wranglers, but there are also some more not so common creatures like camo crawlers, transporters, blossoming eyes, and watchers. And some of those creatures will be in my next Backrooms creatures video, so I won't get into their description here. Level 8 also has its own creature as well. It's called the arachnids of level 8, and these are huge spiders that are really poisonous, so that's not fun at all. There's actually an outpost here, and it's called the Meg Cave Raiders. It's got 54 members right now, and there actually used to be another town here called the town of Cavergost or something like that. It had an unknown humanoid species that populated it, and there were 78 members. They lived deep in this remote area of the level. They had crude weapons that were made from like an unknown ore, and they weren't really welcoming to humans, but their leader was. However, this civilization just seemingly disappeared without a trace, leaving its outpost walls empty. To enter this level, just find a cave entrance on level 7, and you can exit by randomly falling to the floor to get taken to level 9. There are other exits as well, but they aren't really advised. But this one is a really scary level just because, more so its physical layout, it's just an infinite dark cave with caverns and dangerous creatures everywhere. Like, that's terrifying to me, especially since I'm not a big fan of heights. Level 9, aka the Suburbs, is classified as Class 5, unsafe, unsecure, and is infested with entities. So pretty much the level is just an infinite suburb where it's always nighttime. The houses here are all different as well in size and shape and what's inside of them, except there's one report where someone claimed that there were 2 houses next to each other that were exactly the same, which is weird. Inside the houses themselves, everything seems to be fully furnished, and it all looks pretty new. The only thing is that there's no power source to power any of the electronics or any stuff like that. There's a multitude of useful objects that can be found inside the houses though, but some of the houses are just empty. All the houses are pretty normal. Some of the houses even have full backyards with backyard stuff like balls and playhouses and grills, stuff like that. But there is one weird aspect of this level that makes it a little bit more eerie. Sometimes you'll run into two houses that have clipped inside of each other, which in reality is physically impossible, obviously. But hey, this is the Backrooms, and it's not impossible. The most dangerous part of level 9 is actually the streets, because that's where the entities roam. And there are tons of entities here because, well, it's infested, like I said. But there are also some foggy areas where the mangled can spawn. So watch out for that. The main entities here are death moths, smilers, skin stealers, Jerry, hounds, transporters, death rats, anithicas, and wretches. So pretty much they're some of the worst entities. And there are even some level exclusive entities here as well, like the neighborhood watch, the observer, and the mangled. The neighborhood watch entity is literally a species that looks like a giant human eye, and they're extremely aggressive. Nice. The mangled are huge 30 to 50 feet tall creatures that look like they're kind of on stilts. Their bodies look old and they have saggy skin. So, nice. And they're also really dangerous. There are no official bases or outposts here, but there are some groups who roam the infinite suburb and sporadically live in the houses. It is possible to make a base here, but there are so many entities that it's not advised. To enter level 9, the easiest way is by falling through the cave floor on level 8, but you can also crawl up a sewer gate from level 34 and end up here. There's like 30 other ways too, so it's not too hard to get here. To exit the level, you have to follow the street signs, which will take you to level 11 after about 100 miles or so.
We shall test.
Or sometimes you can just walk off into a random field and it'll take you to level 9.1 or level 10. There are other exits that are pretty random, it seems. Like you can just walk into a random house and be sent to level 53, or you can find a playground and get into a tube slide and that'll send you to level 283. Nice. So like I said, pretty random. So to summarize this pretty simple level, it is an infinite dark suburb with houses that are fully furnished and have some supplies. But there are also some houses that are not fully furnished and have no supplies. Some of the houses are glitched together, and there are creatures that roam the streets everywhere. The level is pretty easy to enter and exit, and it's a pretty straightforward level. As long as the doors on the houses could lock, I would literally stay here. Level 10 of the Backrooms is classified as a Class 1 difficulty and is safe, secure, and has minimal entities. Level 10 physically is a infinite wheat field that has a dirt path that cuts directly through it.
And I will do
the wheat itself seems to be safe and normal. You can make bread and stuff with it, you can eat it. And sometimes on the ground near this wheat, there's almond water puddles, which are also safe to drink. Nice. The time of day in this level always seems to be around noon, and it's mostly cloudy, and sometimes it even rains, so cool. Along the sides of the dirt path, there are some random buildings like barns and stables. You can explore these areas if you want to, but normally there isn't really anything there. On the floor of the barns, there's just animal fur and farming equipment like tractors and other tools. But sometimes you also hear weird animal noises coming from an unknown source inside of the buildings only, which is weird. Deeper into this level, you'll find some small houses that kind of have the style of a house that was built back in the 80s. These houses are pretty empty, and there's nothing really else to them except they're just houses. Except some wanderers have reported a crying noise from inside the houses. Ghosts, question mark? Walking into these houses can rarely take you back to level 7 or 9, so that kind of sucks. If you walk a little bit further down the dirt path, you'll notice a whole town. This town has the same architecture style as the houses do, so it's assumed that the houses in the town was built at the same time. But unlike the empty houses, these buildings in the town are full of stuff. It doesn't say what the stuff is, but oh well. The town has stores and apartments and other houses, and pretty much just typical town stuff. Now, very rarely on level 10, creatures can spawn inside of the buildings, like the typical Smiler or Skin Stealer or Hound, you know, the big three. And this level is also home to two entities that are pretty special. The first entity is called the Archers, and these things live in these towers that are randomly, sporadically put on this level that look like medieval archer towers. I don't know, it's weird. They're lit up by torches and they've got furniture from the 1600s inside. And this is where it gets kind of wacky. Sometimes on the level, you'll just hear random trumpet sounds from the sky, like insanely loud or just blast in your ears. And after the trumpets sound for about 2 minutes, the archers come out to scout around the level, I guess. They claim that the towers are their own territory, and they defend them too. And once the trumpet sound blasts again, the archers disappear to an unknown location. It's advised to stay clear of the archers because you don't want to get shot in the face with an arrow. The second special entity here is called the Gluff. These are big fat creatures that wander around the wheat fields. Gluffs are literally only here to help grow the crops because when they sweat, Their body sweats
Very
out
slow.
almond
I think
water.
it's
That's right,
because it
folks.
needs to catch
Almond
up.
water.
And
These
there's a
creatures are really
light
friendly
here that should
and they
not
like
be
to
here
frolic around
already.
the
Damn
fields,
it.
and they're considered graceful, actually. They're pretty well known as good friends to have.
And did I
There are
fix
several
these?
bases
No,
and
I
outposts
fixed
here as
those, but
well,
I didn't
like the
fix those
BNTG
lights. I
Level
gotta
10
fix this
Resource
whole
Station
lobby. It was
is a
perfect
base that's
before,
here,
but
and they harvest
messed it
wheat to
up.
make
Hello,
breads and other
hi.
baked goods for the rest of
I
the
am
back rooms.
testing,
There's about 23 people who
I'm
live here.
testing
The
level
next group is
2,
called the
and
Cartographer Station
we are
Tertium. The
about
full
to do it right
population
now.
of this
I'm
group is
about to
around
run around
3,000
in
people. They're
level
open to
2. It's gonna be
trade,
like the
and anyone is
green.
welcome, unless
Oh,
you're a
and I
member of the
have, oh, hold on.
BNTG, which then you're not welcome.
Before I
The
do
next group
this,
is
let me pause
called
the
Malt
video.
Town, and this is a group of
I have
several
a
wanderers.
I have a Backrooms video playing to like kind of get into the lore. But all right, let's start over and we're gonna do the playtest of this green room. I added a whole bunch of hallways and stuff, so get ready. It's gonna always takes a minute. There you go. So it always starts off slow and jittery, but I just need to let it load in all the assets and stuff. It always starts off like this. And oh, I haven't opened up this level in a while. That's probably why. Let's start over. I love how it wants to malfunction just as you arrive. Or not malfunction, but not really work. Alrighty, let's do this. There you go. Now everything's loaded in. Smooth as butter. Okay. Oh, and I had it closed on me. So I just gotta walk away from it and then it'll open back up. But level 2, we go. Enter and go. It's gonna go green. It's gonna just go nuts. And then it transitions to the next level. And then this green light refers to the green light in the lore where like they really don't talk about it very much. Um, I kind of use that green light as like the power source for the elevator, and that's how you're able to travel from level to level because it looks like that green dimension in the Backrooms lore is like a transitionary space, but they just never show it long enough. So that's kind of what my logic is there. But we are here in the holy shoot. The doors look way too small. I think I need to I just need to make them large. Oh my God, they're way too small. Oh my, and I'll be able to fix that real quick. Okay. Ooh, I'm going very fast. Uh-oh, am I able to walk through these doors then? If I'm this big? No. Ah, shoot, so I have to make these bigger. So that means I can't go through this area. Let's see. That's fine. So I'm gonna go into the actual thing itself. I'm gonna make it 1 point, what was the thing? It was 1 point, let's see, scale. There you go. I'll do 1.3. Copy paste that. Copy paste that. And then, oh my gosh. And then apply changes. Oh my God. Is that big enough? That didn't sound very appropriate, but I need to go to this door now. This door. Oh my God. Scale. I'm gonna have to address that in the entire scene, but once I fix it, it should be fine. Oh no, wait, I have to test those sizes too. Hmm. Yes. Apply the changes. Apply the changes. Oh wait, that one seemed fine. Interesting. The frame was fine. Let's see. Scale. No, I have to keep it that way actually because this is how this area is looking. So if this is gonna be, oh, the door as well. Okay, so let's go back to this. I could make everything actually bigger in this. Okay, so the door also needs to be rescaled. Oh, what? I meant scale and then paste, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, and then apply there. And then when I open this, I gotta adjust that. Let's do the top. I could go back to the video now that I'm focusing on fixing that.
Who seek refuge in the level 10
We're just talking
town.
about level
They're
10.
very
Even though I'm
friendly
on
and they're
level
guarded
2,
by the
it's just gonna keep
BTG.
going. It's a very
The
long
last group is
video,
called the
so
Housekeepers. Now these are mysterious residents in the houses of level 10 that have apparently, quote, discovered some vital information about the backrooms inside of the houses, but they're not willing to share it. Losers. To enter this level, you can just walk into the
Losers.
fields of level 9, like I said yesterday, or you can climb a chain-linked fence on level 205. To exit, you can chance going into a random house to be
So,
teleported to a
now
random
that
level, or you can knock over a scarecrow in a field to
can
be
do
sent
that.
to level 807. So to
Right?
summarize, this
And then
level is an
keep that
infinite,
open.
foggy, cloudy wheat field with a dirt path that runs through it. There are
Oh,
houses
you know
and a
what? That
small
shouldn't
town in
be
the level,
too
and there
hard
are
of a
some
fix
friendly
because
groups,
I'm
and there
gonna
are
change
big,
this
fat,
scale
and
as
graceful
well.
things that water the fields with their own sweat. Nice.
Nice.
Level 11
He
is
keeps saying that in the
classified
video.
as a
Nice,
Class 1
nice.
difficulty
Like,
and is safe, secure, and has a minimal entity count. The level is pretty much an infinite city with skyscrapers and other
I
city-type
don't know why he keeps
buildings. The
saying
cool
that.
thing about it, though, is that some of the
And
buildings in this
then
level are buildings from real life,
there
but
you
more
go.
on that later.
But
Now to what's
only problem is
inside the
that all I
buildings.
gotta
This
do
varies
is
between each building. Some of them are empty and some
change
of
that.
them are full. The same goes for
So all
actually
of
entering the
these.
buildings. You can actually go into some, and some you can't go
Oh, but
in.
it
The actual
squeezes it too
contents of the
much.
inside of the buildings can be
Yeah,
weird
I'm gonna have
though,
to fix that.
because some aspects of them don't make any sense. Like some stairways lead to nothing, and there are some doors on the top levels of
Here.
buildings that just open to the outside, where you can just walk out and fall to your demise. I don't know, it's weird. Also, gravity and normal physics don't seem to matter here for the buildings,
Oh,
because some of the buildings are actually clipped into each other or stacked on top of each other. And in some rare cases, there's even been reports of floating buildings. What? Level 11 has no day or night cycle, so it's always afternoon,
no
which
day or
means it would be
night.
terrible for sleep, just saying. The sidewalks and the
Right,
streets are pretty normal, except that some of them go through buildings, or some of them just start ramping upwards towards the sun. What? The streets are the most normal part of the level,
These-
actually. They're just warm and dry asphalt, unlike level 9, where the streets in that level were constantly wet. There is a surplus of almond water here, and you can get it from water fountains, freezers, vending machines, in pretty much every place you get typical water from.
These.
There's this weird thing that happens on this level though sometimes, and it's when a random car will just drive itself down the street, and then it'll just stop in its tracks. And this is only weird
the
because the cars on this level
crazy?
don't work. They don't have the right wiring.
What
So
type of
who's
shit?
driving or how are they driving? I don't
The
know. I think we got
Backrooms?
some Transformers on our hands,
I
lads.
just-
The level actually has some big nuclear
The
power
concept
plants that
sometimes
have been
just baffles me.
classified as
It's like
inactive
so
by
absurd.
Meg. They're still
But
dangerous
that's what I
due
love
to
about it, you
radiation,
know?
obviously. So Meg advises people
Okay.
to not go near
That
them.
might be
Now I'll talk
more,
about some of those
but I have
buildings I
to
mentioned earlier that are
select
from
all
real
of
life.
these.
Things like specific buildings from New York, Chicago, LA, and St. Louis. Those are from the US, obviously. They don't say which buildings they are, but I'm assuming it's the Empire State
Oh,
Building from New York, the
For
Bean from Chicago.
now, I'll
I
fix
have no
that
clue what
at
would be
some
from
point.
LA, and then the Arch from St. Louis.
Here
But I could be
are
wrong.
the
So yeah,
frames.
those buildings are here, which is really weird because they're even laid out the exact same inside, and all the stuff that's in the real life ones are here too. Weird. There's actually a good Wi-Fi signal here, but the names of each connection are just a jumble of
see if
words and letters that don't mean anything. And there's
Yeah,
only
at
two
least sorta
entities
works.
that spawn here often, and
The
those are
only thing I have to
facelings
fix
and
is
hounds.
the height
However, you don't have to
change.
worry about them because
Because
they're
now
not
the
aggressive
lights.
on this level,
But
due
I have
to
to
something
select them
called the
all.
level 11 effect. This
How many
effect
lights
makes
are
the
there?
creatures act like normal
There's a
pedestrians
shit ton
or
of
normal
lights.
dogs. So technically, you could just walk right past
There's
a
a shit. I
faceling
mean, I
that's
could just
walking a
click them
hound
all,
like a
but
dog.
it's
What?
gonna
And they
be
wouldn't even attack
tedious.
you. Obviously, since this level is almost like real life, there's bound to be
Oh,
several
there's like
bases here.
literally.
There's like 15
Oh
of
my
them, so
god,
buckle
yeah.
up. Meg Base Beta
All of
is
them, they're
here,
all
and this is the fourth
misaligned.
main Meg base, and it's still pretty new to the level. Then there's the Eye of Argos, which
Oh,
is the
this.
main base for that group. It's in the building that's known as the headquarters, and you can stay there unless you have committed a sin. Okay. Then there's the
Yeah, I'm gonna
Camp
have to
Amber
change up the
Outpost.
scaling
This
on all
group
this.
mainly helps people who are new to the
Let's
Backrooms,
give it a
and
test.
it kind of teaches them the ropes. They live
I'll
around
just
the level, but they
change
don't all
that
live in
all
one
later.
spot. And they're friendly, obviously.
Put
Next
that
is
back over
Insurrection
here.
Section
Also,
7,
let's
which is a
fix
group
that.
of around 800 people that only brings in people who
This
don't
here.
like Meg. Nice. Next is the Drone Surveillance Squad. This
Here's
was
a
a group
light
made by the
in
first
this
3 explorers
one.
of level 11,
That should
and they
not
use
be
their
in there.
drones
And it
to
always takes a
record
long time
videos
to
and, you know, stuff like that
open,
of the other
so
levels. Next is the
I'll have
Homely
this playing
Hotel.
while
This
that
group runs a hotel service
does
in this
that.
level, just like the one they had up in level 5. If you remember, they have their own food staff and everything like that, so it's pretty much a real-life hotel. Next is Jerry's Salvation Group. This is a base made up of the followers of Jerry and has around 40 people in it, and they're actually pretty friendly unless you insult Jerry. So don't. Now these last 5 groups, I'm just going to speed run through.
Thank you for being
You
here,
got the
Zach.
UBDS, which is the Backrooms Postal Service
I
with 38
appreciate you.
people. You have the Anti-Entity Agency, which is a mysterious group created back in 1952, and they go on covert missions to end entities. Cool. Then there's the Radical
There you
Radio
go.
Team, which is made up of 5 teenagers. They dress like they're from the 80s. Losers. And then there's the Malt Mart,
Losers.
which is a group of 28 people who run all the stores and storefronts in a level. They're supplied by the BNTG. And lastly, there's the Citizens of Level 11, which is all 12,000 people who call this place home. Cool. The most common entrance to the level is following the signs from level 9, which will lead you
That's not
here.
where I want the lights.
And then the most common exit is either walking into a building to be sent to pretty much any level, or you can get into a taxi cab and then be sent to level 43. So yeah, to summarize, level 11 is a city that doesn't obey physics
Right here.
and has over 12,000 inhabitants.
Insane.
Level 12 is classified as
Insane.
Class 0 and is safe,
Alright,
secure,
back to
and
this one.
devoid of entities. The level has a really unique and weird effect
Now,
that when you're
we
in
shall
it,
play.
it almost like censors
See
itself.
if that
So
works.
if you try to take a
I
picture
shall
or a
fix the
video
scaling
of it,
later.
all you'll see
That
when
is
you
a
look
major
back at the
issue,
footage
but it
or the
will
picture
be
is
solved
TV
because I
static.
already know how
Nice.
to solve
But the
it.
physical description of the level is actually pretty simple. It's a tiny
But it's
white
safe.
room with only a table and a chair in the middle. There's a door on the opposite
Yes,
wall,
this one
and
is
it's
gonna be
also
so
locked.
fun.
Many
I'm
wanderers
gonna
have
do this
gotten
one.
here and have
The
exited
white
successfully,
table.
but they don't even
Let
know
me
how they
screenshot
did it
that.
because they can't remember how they got here or how they
Let's
left.
see.
This is
Hold
because
on,
the
let me
level puts a
screenshot
fogginess
remember
over
that it's
everyone's
just a
brain,
table,
and it
a
doesn't let
chair.
them think straight. The people who have been here claim that the level
Right here. Just screenshot that.
actually isn't just a tiny white room. They claim it's a labyrinth of white rooms and doors and tables that go on forever and ever. Nice. But there is a theorized exit that's found
Do
in a
this.
log from a Meg team that
Okay.
explored the level.
Play.
And it goes like this. You must be
Control
sitting on the
lock,
original main
selected,
room chair, and you must have
ready,
remained there for
steady.
an average of 15 minutes. Get
There
up,
we
walk to the
go.
door, and try to open it.
It's super slow.
Should be
Give it a
locked.
second.
If it opens, lucky you, I guess. Go and boast
Give
about
it a
it to
second.
everyone in Alpha Base. Make sure you do this though, even if you know it's locked. Then
Here we go.
return to the center of the room and find
Two.
one of the nooks
There
that
we
leads
go.
into this wide open area. You need to find one of the copycat doors out there. Shouldn't be too hard. Open and enter said door, as per usual. You'll end up back in the main room.
Level
Wait
2.
for exactly 1 hour, no more, no less, and try to open the door again.
Bam.
If it doesn't
Alright.
open, repeat these steps.
That
Try to
looks
turn the handle as close
a
to
little
the
better.
1 hour mark as possible. If the door does open, it should lead to one of the early levels. We don't have a precise list just yet, but I
Okay.
suspect you can refer to the database page for this level if you're after an exact pool of possible destinations. It's kinda hard to communicate properly with people in
God.
level 12 once you're out of it. As soon as the effects wear off, you realize just how bad the mental fogginess is. Okay, it's been an
Yes.
additional hour and the strategy worked. Gabs
God.
managed to create a pathway to level 1. A lot of the team seem pretty out of it. Let's hope they get better when they
gotta
leave.
fix
This is
that.
Commander Harris, team leader, provisional team matrix,
Let me see.
signing off. So yeah, you pretty much have to do some
This.
convoluted opening,
No.
closing door thing to
Yeah.
leave. And there's only one theorized way to enter the level, and it's through a random window in level 11 that can be used to no-clip to get here. And like I said, I just read the exit to you. It works most of the time, and it leads you to either level -1, 4, 10,
Yeah,
19,
all the way
23,
up.
25, or 34. Nice.
Now,
So yeah, that's
let's see how
the
far.
entirety of level 12. There's not much to
This
it, but
should
I hope
fit.
you enjoyed it. It's a pretty simple level, but it's also weird at the same time.
There goes my
Backrooms
alarm.
level
Hold on.
13, aka the Infinite Apartments, is one of the most famous levels in the
Sure.
Backrooms, and it's classified as a Class 2 difficulty. You've all probably seen the picture that's on the level description. It's almost as famous as the level 0 picture, in my mind. The level is what looks to be an apartment building with extremely long hallways and a bunch of floors. Unlike its name, however, the Infinite Apartments are not actually infinite. There's around 1,000 floors. The hallways themselves have a 1980s-ish style build, and the decoration there is also from the 80s. There's also weird-looking brown carpets, white and yellow walls, and this kind of trippy geometric pattern on the walls too. I mean, it's kind of cool. There are elevators and staircases both on this level, but the elevators can only go to different Backrooms levels, not different floors of this level. So if you're on floor 4 and you want to go to floor 8, you're gonna have to walk up the stairs. Sorry. The most common entities in this level are the window entity, and they typically show a bright blue void behind their glass, so just avoid those. Getting near them at all is very dangerous. But I'll talk about the rest of the entities in the entity section later on in the video. Some of the apartments are actually open, and you can walk into them, and you can actually claim the apartments, or a certain apartment. Inside, they look just like normal, smallish apartments, decorated with beds and all that good stuff, and they have the same decor from the 80s as the hallways do. Like I said, you can actually claim a residency of an apartment by going down to the lobby, which is floor 0, and asking the faceling behind the desk to give you a key to that corresponding number, and then they will, and then you have an apartment for free.
It'll be all
Cool.
freezy.
The inside of some of the apartments, there are actually computers there, which are already connected to the Wi-Fi through the level, which is cool if you want to hop on the internet or whatever, but there's not computers in all of them, just some. And as for the entities here, there's the windows in the hallways, like I said, and there's that faceling at the front desk, but there's also some other really dangerous stuff lurking around, like clumps, smilers, and death moths, to be specific. Now these entities mainly hide in empty, dark apartment rooms, so be careful if you're opening a door, you don't want to get eaten by a clump. Now other than that, there aren't any entities here, which is why the level is just classified as Class 2. There's only one base here, and it's located on the 283rd floor. This floor entirely is claimed by the BNTG group, and it's a small trading post for their bigger outposts, and the only people allowed in are BNTG members, which is lame. To enter this level, you can go into an apartment building back on level 11, or you can no-clip through the floor on level 12, or you can no-clip into a yellow wall on level -2. Now if you want to leave the level, you can find a red wall in one of the hallways and just no-clip through that to go to level -1, or you can pick one of the other 3 listed exits. To summarize this explanation, like I'll be doing for every level, Backrooms level 13 is a level that's around 1,000 floors, and it's full of tons of apartments and hallways, which all have this whitish yellow wallpaper with geometric shapes and patterns on them. The floors here are brown carpets, and you can actually stay in the individual apartments if you ask the faceling in the lobby on floor 0 to give you a key. Now the main thing you have to avoid is smilers, clumps, and death moths hiding in empty apartments, but other than that, it's a pretty chill level. And to me, this level gives off huge liminal space vibes. Overall, I love it. Backrooms level 14, aka Paradise, is classified as Class Paradise. Shocker. And apparently, it's beautiful, serene, and perfect. But I'm not buying that for 1 second, and you'll see why later. But this classification graphic is also a little sus because it looks an awful lot like a Class 5 graphic, so I'm thinking it's dangerous. This level is pretty hard to summarize in the way that I typically do it, because it's written in like a short story narrative type way. So instead of summarizing it, I'm gonna read certain parts of it and then explain what I think that part means. Don't worry, it's not that long. The entire thing is just like a paragraph in length. So I'm just gonna be breaking down the weird, creepy entry. Let's get into it.
I feel like there's Slender Man about to jump out, right? It's late at night and I am not scared.
Is an oasis The forest
But
of
I do
your
need to fix the
dreams
lights,
shimmering in the
fix the
night.
height of
Well, when
certain
an entry
things, but
starts
at
like
least we
that,
can
I
go
think they're
through a
aligned.
lot of
It
it.
then
So
says, close your eyes for a moment. You can see it, right? The crimson grass wet with dew. Yeah, so you see the theme that this is going for. You kind of see what they're aiming at.
okay,
It sounds extremely
I
sus.
can be
And
level
to me,
2.
they're trying to
I'm
show
fine
you
with
how
that,
beautiful this level
and
is
I
by
hope you are
saying
too.
things
I
like,
will
you'll be
add a
happy
little bit
here, I'm
more
sure of it. But I don't
at
think I
some
would be
point,
happy here. I don't think
but
I
I just
would be
gotta
happy
add
here.
those
And then
last
it
2
says,
hallways,
a cacophony
close the
fills
rest
your
of that
ears.
area,
You
and then
can't
it should be.
think, but you don't need to. Aren't you
Hold
relieved
on,
to
let me
have the
close.
burden of thought lifted from your
Jump as fast as
shoulders?
I can.
Don't you feel so much lighter
As
now,
fast as I
you can
can.
almost float away? Perhaps you will. Look at the other guests, lying peacefully in the soil. Okay,
Okay,
pause, like right there. Lying
so I need to
peacefully in the
add
soil. Does that not
something
mean
here.
that there's just a bunch of
Oh, I
unalived
already have an
people just
idea.
laying on the
So
ground? Like,
I
could
just
I
got
be
something
guessing
there.
that? I think I am. And I definitely am getting the
Close
vibe
this
that the
off here and
creator
add
is
the
trying
rest there.
to lure people, wanderers, or whatever, to level 14 by claiming how
Add
beautiful it
something
is. Now,
here.
under the bases and outposts tab, there's
Connect the
more
wall. Oh my
narrative style
god.
writing, of course, and it reads,
Oh my god, where am
children
I?
line up in rows. They
Where am
howl
I?
beautifully at the moon.
Ah,
What, they howl? What? Waiting to become
okay,
whole. You want to
so
help
yeah,
them, don't you?
this here
Of
is
course you
gonna
do.
be.
After all, they only want to help you.
I need to have a
Like,
doorway
what
here.
does that even mean? I guess it's weird. Who are the other children it's talking about? Maybe the children are other creatures that live here or other
Oh
members
crap.
of like a cult or something that survive off of eating
Don't worry,
wanderers
nothing will
that you
jump
lured
out.
here? Maybe. But
It
the
just
next
looks like it,
sentence is the
right? Like
most
it just looks
sus of
very.
all. It says, all you
Let's
need to
check
do is
level.
surrender yourself. It won't
Let's
hurt,
go
I
to level 1.
promise. I bet you feel your mind leaking. Don't worry. We're just fixing a few things so that we'll be perfect for you, and you'll be perfect for us. You see, that's just
Where are the
terrifying,
cats?
bro. Like, what are they talking about surrendering yourself? And why are they saying it won't hurt? Like I said just
Where are
now,
the
it
cats
might be
are
some kind of
talking about?
sacrificial group of entities or some kind of animal type
Level
group,
2.
or it could be
Already
like a
level 1.
cult that lives in these woods. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty terrifying. And the last sentence of this entry is pretty interesting. That's it. Let us in,
Kitties,
and
I hear
soon you'll
them.
be here too. We'll have a great
Are
feast
you
when you
okay,
come.
kitties?
After all, we want to welcome you. Okay. Now, I
Look at that.
think I get what they're talking about when they say feast, because I think you're gonna be the feast, or whoever goes
Okay,
there.
and then
I
level
genuinely think this is a
yellow,
cult trying to
level
lure
0.
somebody in the back rooms to come to their level. Could be wrong, just a theory. But let me know what you think down below. Now, following the same theme as the rest of the writing,
Which I have to
the
change
entrances and
this
exits
white
are
pattern
written
at some
directly
point. I
into
don't like it.
narrative form and are addressed to the reader. The entrance part
Level
says,
0.
you know how to get there by now. Just keep going. You're so close. It's pretty vague. Don't even know how to connect it to anything, but it just sus.
Ready?
The exit says, you won't have to worry about that. Like, that's the entire
Lobby,
thing. It says you
rooms,
won't have to worry. Which to me
feel.
means that you won't ever be leaving the level. So, I
Oh,
recommend avoiding this dangerous level. So to summarize what I think level 14 is, I think Paradise is actually the home of a
I'm
cult.
just
A
breezing through
humanoid, to be
it.
exact. Could be animals, but I think it's humans. I mean, there's other weird groups that live in the backrooms. There's other cult-type areas, so who's to say something ancient or something very historical isn't on this level, and they try to lure you there to trap you. I think that the writer of the level wrote it with the entire goal of trying to lure people there so that they can either like trap them or
Yes.
do whatever culty things they want to do, especially since apparently we won't have to worry about leaving. Sounds fishy to me, and I definitely recommend avoiding it, but I think it's a good entry on the wiki
Zane,
hut.
right? There's a
Backrooms
door.
level 15 is
Never changed the
classified
door.
as a class 0 level and is
Don't
safe,
fall into the
secure,
pit.
and has no entities. Now you might
Don't
think,
fall into
how
the
is the
pit.
level crazy if there's
You
nothing
can
there?
fall
Well,
into the
you'll
pit.
see in a second, trust me.
Oh,
The
you
level is
can.
made up of a bunch
Ah,
of futuristic
shit.
style hallways with shiny reflective
Ah.
surfaces. There
I
are
gotta add
also
a
some sections of the
mechanic to
level
fix
that are
to
completely dark
teleport you
with no
back.
lights, and you can't
Oh,
even
that
see
was
in them at
funny.
all, but those are
Scared the
pretty
shit
rare.
out of me.
Throughout the hallways, you can faintly hear the
You
sound of
imagine you
engines
follow that in
roaring
real
in the
life.
distance. Now, these machines or
I
engines
wouldn't.
are inside of
I would just
rooms
be.
that are sealed shut with
I'd be
big
done.
doors. These doors can be
I
opened up,
wouldn't even know
though,
what
if you
to.
want to explore explore around them. There's a bunch of different machines in this level, and they range in size from being as small as a computer or being the size of an entire room. It just depends on which one you're looking at. And these machines actually can manufacture real objects. Like, some produce steel rods, but there are some of them that seemingly make nothing but still move. It's weird. Now, people originally thought that the hallways were infinite, but it's now known that there's just so many hallways and it seems like it's infinite, but it's not actually. It's around 6,000 kilometers squared, to be exact. All of the rooms and the halls are made out of white concrete floors with reflective steel walls and roofs and steel beams holding it all up. On the ceiling and some of the walls, there are these really bright lights that reflect off of all the surfaces that make it really eerie and futuristic looking. And the only thing that breaks up this really monotonous wall of the is make nothing. It's on BX Ederson's roaring, but sections of the style. No, it's classified as a class.
Level 15.
Backrooms level 15 is classified as a class 0 level and is safe, secure, and has no entities. Now you might think, how is the level crazy? Bunch of futuristic style hallways with shiny reflective surfaces. There are also some sections of the level that are completely dark with no lights and you can't even see in them at all, but those are pretty rare. Throughout the hallways, you can faintly hear the sound of engines roaring in the distance. Now, these machines or engines are inside of rooms that are sealed shut with big doors.
We'll do a door reference like that. Okay. Boom.
These doors can be opened up, though, if you want to explore around them. There's a bunch of different machines in this level of an entire real, seemingly, these were in it, but it's not. Walls are made out of white concrete, it all up. On the ceiling and some of the walls.
I'll do that one. I'll use that as a reference. I could do that geometry quickly. Okay.
So there are these really bright lights that reflect off of all the surfaces that make it really eerie and futuristic looking. And the only thing that breaks up this really monotonous color scheme is an occasional body just laying there on the ground. Yeah, that's pretty terrifying. These bodies are people, and they're all dressed in lab coats. And on top of this, there's also makeshift weaponry found near them almost every time. And some of the bodies have signs of gunfire wounds, and it's unknown what happened here or why they're there, but they've been there for a long time. Now, earlier I was talking about the engine rooms that can produce stuff, but those aren't the only types of rooms here. In fact, there's labs, cafeterias, bedrooms, kitchens, and even control rooms scattered around the level. Most of the rooms have no furniture or anything on the ground, but some of them look like entire wars happen there. Just a huge war scene. In some of those rooms, there's also computers, and on this level, there's always a Wi-Fi signal that you can connect to. That'll come into play later, but yeah, some of the rooms have computers. But the weird thing is the files on these computers are in an unknown language, which honestly is pretty terrifying. I mean, you have all these corpses and weapons, and now you get these computers with weird languages. I don't know, man. I guess a good thing is that there's been no entity seen here alive, except there is one room with corpses of hounds stacked up on top of each other the entire height of the ceiling. What even is this level, bro? Like, what? Now, the way this level was discovered was by a wanderer who came here from level 10 and ended up in a big control room. That wanderer's name is Onric, and we're about to get into his story now. And this big control room had access to the rest of the level, so, you know, when Onric just set up a camp in that big room and decided to explore. But after 2 days of exploring, the door that he came to the level in shut by itself and literally won't open. And it hasn't opened for 2 entire years. So this guy has been stuck in this entire level for 2 whole years. Now the good news is that the computers in the rooms do have internet access, and Meg has been able to send books, you know, correspondence, games, and stuff like that to keep him sane while he's stuck here. He's documented his entire stay on the level, and to this day he's still alive and is trying to explore more of the level and crack the code of the unknown language on the computer files. And as for bases on this level, the only base here is Onric's base. But there has been remnants of other camps that Onric has found, but they look like they were abandoned a long time ago. There's also some computer scanning graphs that Onric has taken and some readings that he's gotten. And the data is actually on the Wikidot if you want to go read it. But I'll show you the picture of some of the scans because I'm not going to go through it. It's a lot. My question is, why is this level like a battle zone? You know, where's the bodies of the scientists? Why are they there? And why are hounds stacked up in a room? And why are there bullets everywhere? I don't know. Lots of questions here, but there's no one else that's ever been here that has any correspondence with Meg except Onric. So let me know down below. Also, the
Unreal.
only entrance to this level was found by Onric himself, and so far, he's the only person to ever enter here and be alive. So, we still don't know how those scientists got there, we still don't know how the hounds got there, we don't know anything. But the way he entered was by this big wall on level 10 turned the same material and color as the shiny white walls here. So when he noticed that, a door appeared in that white wall on level 10, so he just walked through it, and he came to here, level 15. And after a few days, the door shut and trapped him here. It's creepy.
Came there and trapped him
The
there.
level entry for level 16 starts with a warning screen that reads, "The updated database entry for this level is unavailable. Would you like to search for an older entry?" And then it searches for offline backups, and it finds 2 files. Reads, the level entry...
Part 1. Okay, for 16.
The level entry for level 16 starts with a warning screen that reads, "The updated database entry for this level is unavailable. Would you like to search for an older entry?" And then it searches for offline backups, and it finds 2 files. Now file 1 is dated 6/10 and file 2 is dated 9/12, but neither show what year they were dated, so I'll just start with the first file. File 1 opens up as the first part of this level, and it has a survival difficulty of 0, and it's safe, secure, and no entities. Now this section of the level looks like a rainforest type ecosystem with fields and rolling hills where it's slightly overcast and foggy at all times. The level's rainforests are a lot like real life rainforests, but with one big difference: gravity. Obviously, here in real life, gravity keeps us to the ground, right? We can't fly or jump high. But in this part of level 16, the gravity is much less strong, which means you can jump higher and slightly float, but it doesn't have any effect on the wildlife or fauna here. There's not even a known reason why this happens, it just does. So, go with it. There's actually no day or night cycle here in this part, and it's constantly at a dawn time, and it hovers around 70 degrees Fahrenheit or 20 degrees Celsius at almost all times. But the next sentence of the entry says, "Was our level key wrong? We've already been here." But the key seemed to change direction. Everything looks different than what they reported. And you'll see why they said that in the second part of the level in the second file. But for the rest of file 1, there's no bases or outposts, even though theoretically it would be possible to set one up here, but there's no consistent way of entering the level, so there's no point. The only
because I just think we just gotta do a couple more things in this level, just because I see a couple more areas I'll be able to get to, and then we can move on to level 3. And what do we have for level 3? Another yellow variation. Now I'm gonna go back to that. I'm gonna go back to this video and refer to what level he had, and I'll see what concept I can do. I think it was like some sort of warehouse situation, so I'll see. Um, but until then, I'll just finish this one and just get it done, and I'll expand a little bit more with the rooms, and I'll do a couple more things, and I'll add a couple more details, but that will be done, in the next day or so. Tomorrow, obviously, because it's pretty late tonight. So, yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy watching me build this. I keep thinking about how overwhelming this is, but I'm also like the way I have these ideas structured, after I get like the main walls or like the main like yellow rooms and green rooms done, I want to do the more creative and simpler scenes that are going to be like really creative but really cool, and I'll be able to do some really cool tricks with it. So yeah, just keep following for more, and hopefully I'll get this done sooner than later, So, and you'll be able to play it all yourself and run about all yourself and add your own stuff. I really want to see people add their own stuff, like add their own enemy AI and their own playable characters that they've put like their own years into, and yeah, I want to see all of that just open. So, yeah, thank you for watching. Have a good night.